All right, welcome to lesson 8. I can't believe it's our second to last lesson, but here we are. So today we're going to be looking at the doctrines of justification and then sanctification, and you could say that these are really the reasons why we, as the Protestant church, split away from the Roman Catholic Church. So we're going to be looking at these doctrines. Why are they so important? Then afterwards, we're going to be looking at the nature of spiritual growth. So what does it mean to grow spiritually? And so we're really going to try to take these doctrines of justification and sanctification and try to really apply it in a practical way. And so my hope is really that it's going to be something that's very practical and helpful in just helping you navigate through just some obstacles that you might encounter in your walk with God. You know, like if you feel like you're in a dry season, you know, what is that? Help me to understand that. And so my goal at the end is that these doctrines will not just be in theory, but it'll really make sense and it applies into your life, okay? And so with that, I just want to remind us that justification and sanctification are just parts of the Ordo Salutis, or the order of salvation. And I want to really orient justification and sanctification in light of what we've been learning so far. And so remember that we were predestined or elected in Christ before the foundation of the world. God, even before we were born, out of his love for us, decided to save us. We saw also that original sin, the sin of Adam, brought the guilt of sin and the pollution of sin on all of us. So we are born in a condition of death, and that means we have the guilt and the pollution or the corruption of sin. And as a result of our fallen condition, God, in his saving action, the first thing he needs to do is really regenerate our own hearts. If we are to respond to the message of the God positively, God needs to take that first step of transforming our heart so that our hearts are enabled to receive the good message of the gospel in faith. And so regeneration is 100% the act of God in us to enable a faith response. So that said, justification is similar to regeneration in that justification is also 100% the work of God. And what justification is we'll get into it deeply, but right now, just remember that justification is God's work to remove the guilt of sin. The justification is when the judge, or God, he removes the guilt of sin simply by declaration. So this is about our legal standing before God. Sanctification, on the other hand, is different in a couple ways. Sanctification is a cooperative work between God and man. Man and God work with each other in sanctification. That's completely different from regeneration and justification. Remember, those two are completely 100% the work of God, but sanctification is a cooperation between God and man. And in this, the pollution of sin is being removed. So the guilt has already been removed through justification, but sanctification deals now with the pollution or the corruption of sin. As sin has entered into our heart and has started this work of deterioration, sanctification is really removing that filth. So another thing to remember is that sanctification is never completed in this life. For as long we are stuck in this flesh, we will have the residue of sin. We will never be able to do anything with a 100% pure heart, even if we are walking towards godliness. And so that will be dealt with in next week's lesson, which is on glorification. But keep that in mind, the critical differences between justification and sanctification. So